Hello, everyone. Hello, ladies from Calvary Chapel and the world of Facebook. I just wanted to talk to you all a little bit about what's been happening in my household since quarantine. We have been quarantined basically since March 13th. And it has definitely just been a really blessed time for my children and I. God always knows what we need, and He's always right on time. And He has just really been speaking to my heart and growing us in this time of uncertainty, and we've just been really blessed by it. We're starting to feel a little better. For those of you that do not know, I've basically been sick since January. It's been one thing after another. January was bronchitis. And I might have even actually had a little touch of the Luna. I don't know. There's no test for it at the time, but the symptoms, after I have started to hear everyone talk about the symptoms, I'm like, I might have had it then. I don't know. And then there was pneumonia, or at least borderline pneumonia. And then another virus that seemed a lot like COVID-19, as Trump calls it. And then this week, after we've been outside a little bit, this might have been allergy prone, but ear infection. I can't hear out of this ear. It's completely closed up. The infection's gone. I got to do a virtual doctor's appointment, so I didn't have to actually go in the doctor's office, which is great. Sent me antibiotics. I got to drive through and get those. We're trying to do everything we can do to stay out of and keep our social distance. But the infection's gone. I'm starting to feel a lot better, getting my energy back. But I just still can't hear out of this ear. And now I feel like this one's starting to close up. I'm like, oh no. I can't sing. I can talk, but it sounds like I'm talking like in a microphone. But despite all that, I've been, this last couple months, I have a very vigorous schedule. Mom, 4 kids, daycare. I have to keep pep in my step, and it's been hard to with all this sickness. And I've been sitting there, and I've just been waiting, knowing that, those that wait upon the Lord, those that hope in the Lord, will run and not grow weary. I'm thinking, okay, anytime now, Lord, anytime you can kick in that extra oomph I need, because I'm needing it. I need your strength. And it took getting an exercise bike and cycling. I never thought I would be a cycler and like to actually really like riding a bike. I've never been a cardio girl. Always being a really skinny girl, you don't necessarily want. I've always been into weight training and strength type exercises, and never really big on cardio. Didn't want to lose weight. But I just really felt impressed to get this bike. And God works in many ways, and He speaks to us in many ways, and I've been told I can be a little hard-headed, so He has to go the extra mile to really sink in and teach me. And so I get on this bike, after 1 minute, I'm like, gosh, where is the easy button? Even the level 1 resistance, basically kicked my butt. And so I'm at 1 minute, and I have an iFit app. And so there's a lady on the other end cycling too and leading and guiding me, which is really, it's been a big help. If it was up to me, I would give up after 2 minutes. Like, yeah, that was a workout, because I feel like my legs are burning and I'm about to die. And here she is, she's still going. So I try to keep up. 3 minutes in, I'm like, I don't think I can do this. And then she's like, all right, so we're done with our warm-up. Now it's time to go. And I'm like, what? There's just no way. Anyway, I keep going, and so I'm thinking, I'm not going to be able to make this. This is a 15-minute workout. I'm up just on level 1, and she keeps, she has control of my machine, and she keeps trying to bump it up. I'm just like, level 3, 4, and up, and I'm just like, I can't keep up. I can't. There's no way I can do that. And that's what's in my mind. My body's slowing down and saying no, but I kept pressing in. So I'm like, I got this machine. I felt like I needed it to help me feel better because I've been sick and I've been feeling my immune system's down. I said I need something to help me get that pep back in my step, and so I keep going. And finally, when I just think, I just really can't go anymore, my body kicks in, my adrenaline kicks in and gives me that little extra oomph I need to go, and then all of a sudden, I just feel like I could just keep going. And I know you've been there. I know you've had moments in your workouts or, whatever, where you're on an emergency situation where your adrenaline kicks in and it takes over. And, in that moment, just really sunk in that Bible verse says, run and you will not grow weary. Walk and you will not go faint. There's action there. There's a requirement for us to keep going, to keep pushing in, to keep seeking Him. And it doesn't necessarily mean like in a time like now, you say run. You think that means go and do, but no, it's even sit still and run to Him in prayer. Run to Him with your burdens, lay them at the foot of the cross. And just run to Him in your dependence on Him. And it's really just been speaking to me in so many ways that there's action there. And here, I've been, for the last couple of months, in a way, I've been sulking a little bit, and I've been putting things off, thinking, well, I can't do it yet. I don't have this, haven't had this weariness lifted. But it was my whole mindset that I needed to change. A lot of times, we're in those moments and we're praying, and we're asking for deliverance, and we're asking for healing, we're asking for a change in circumstances. And a lot of the times the answer is not no. So if the circumstances don't change, we have to really reach in, because a lot of times, God's trying to change us. He's trying to change our hearts. And that's a really beautiful place to be, because you don't really get to know the heart of God until you've had that night before there's joy in the morning, that struggle. It's always that struggle and that strife. But then there's joy in the morning. So then you can experience that unconditional joy. And so run and not be weary. There's action there. And so God's just really been talking to me about that. I've been just jotting down a lot of things that He's been saying to me. Run and not grow weary. He's been speaking to me about endurance. Sit still and be comforted. There was times in the Bible where He actually said, shut your doors. So I feel like that particular verse is for a time just like this. We're to be obedient. He's in complete control. He is the sovereign God, and the leaders that He put in place to lead us and to make decisions and take us through this time. He's in complete control of that, and we are to be obedient. We are to obey the laws of the land. And it's beautiful to be able to stay at home with our families, for those of us that can. This time has just been wonderful for me and my children. I've got to really just soak in their laughter. Most of the time I'm hearing it from a distance because I'm having to do so many things, washing dishes, cooking dinner. But I got to sit down and just soak in that deep belly laughter with them. And it's just been so beautiful. And I've got to have deeper conversations with them. I've also got to see in the ways that we're failing and where I really need to press in, and what I need to pray for and ask for help. But I'm just really happy. When I'm looking on Facebook, I'm seeing revival, and it's awesome. It's awesome to see people singing from their backyards and reaching out to their neighbor. And for all of those that are stepping up to the call of duty, the healthcare workers, the truckers, the grocery workers, anyone that's still having to work through this because they're essential. It's just amazing how there's such beauty coming from these ashes, the ashes of this uncertain time. Recently, we got to watch that movie about Jeremy Camp and his family. I still believe. I don't know if you guys have been able to see it or not, but oh, what a beautiful portrayal of faith. We're to run and not be weary. We're to continue in our faithfulness to God, because His word is not void. It will not come back void. He has promises to prosper us and not to harm us. And if He provides for the sparrow, He surely will provide for us. And so we are not to worry about tomorrow, because He's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and He's in our tomorrow. He's already fought that battle. The victory's already been won, and we just need to trust Him. And so I watched this movie, and it was just such a beautiful portrayal. And I'm not going to try to give it away, because I know a lot of people haven't seen the movie, but there was this scene where the son, Jeremy Camp, was talking to his father, and he said, Father, his earthly father, he said, when his sibling brother, who has some type of mental and physical disabilities, he said when he was in the womb, he said, Dad, we prayed for his healing. We prayed for his healing. And Dad, he wasn't healed. And Dad, we prayed for your ministry. His dad was a pastor. He said, we prayed for your ministry for it to grow. And it hasn't flourished like we asked, like we expected. And then he said, Dad, with his wife, Jeremy Camp's wife, he said, we prayed for her healing. And he said, Dad, it didn't happen. He said, the world prayed for her healing. He said, what do I do with this? And what do we do with those things? And his father answered in, I think, the most beautiful way. And he spoke of the child with disabilities, and he said, I am rich because I have this child in my life. He said, it has been such a blessing to see this child grow and to love this child and for this child to be a part of our family. I am rich, and I am nearer to the heart of Christ because of this child. And my ministry, I'm rich because of how it is. And I am rich because of the love I saw you have for your wife. Despite her not being healed, I was rich to see that. And because of Christ, because of His love and His grace and His mercy and His strength and His faithfulness, I am rich. We won't understand everything. We won't understand the closed doors. We may not understand why the circumstances are the way they are, but there was this pastor that preached this message, and I shared it on my Facebook. I can't remember his name, but I consider him sort of a radical pastor. He seems to really cater towards, the younger age groups, not very... But he's conservative, but he's also sort of radical in the way he preaches. And one of his messages, at the end, I always go back to it and I just listen to the end. But he said, there are people in this world that have hurt us. There are disappointments, unmet expectations, all these things. And it's just within our flesh to ask for deliverance, to ask for healing. And we are to do that. We are to pray, and we are to ask. We are to be honest with God and lay our burdens at the foot of the cross and just press into Him. But, sometimes, and as Pastor said, he said, it's these very people that hurt us, that we tend to push away, but they're the very opportunity to experience God in a new way. The very opportunity to experience that unconditional love, that joy, that joy in the storm, and just really near the heart of God. And I can definitely say that in my own life. One of the things that the lady said in the movie is she said, this is not what I would have chosen for my life, but I think this is bigger than me. It's for the glory of the kingdom. As a Christian, if we're not satisfied unless God is glorified, right? We're not satisfied unless God is glorified. So, we give that full surrender. And it's at that point of that full surrender, and only then are we satisfied, no matter the circumstances. And she said, this is bigger than me. And she said, if you want me to. There's that song, if you want me to. If you want me to walk through the fire, Lord, I'll be obedient and I'll do that. And it's really made me think about my own walk, my own life. When I look back at my life, it's not, that I was that 20-year-old girl that was looking for that godly husband. I wanted to have at least 9 kids because, I wanted my own baseball team. And literally, I wanted us to play baseball. Wanted that picket fence and that farm and just that type of lifestyle. And I had all these expectations. But above all, I got to the point, and I remember being at church. It was in the beginning of my journey with Calvary Chapel Farmville. And there was this song that was popular at the time. It was about, maybe 10 years ago. That said, Lord, send me into the homes of the broken. Send me into the homes of the poor and the needy. And I was at a very comfortable place in my life at that time. And I was saying, Lord, take me. Take me. Because I could see that there was all these people that were sort of being shunned by the church, by that religious spirit. And I just wanted to reach out to them and to share with them the love of Jesus. At that time, I just really felt this coating, this being baptized in the love of God. And my relationship with God just went on a different level. And I was saying, Lord, take me. But little did I know that in order for him to take me and to use me to minister to broken people, to poor people, to needy people, to this group of people, that I myself would have to experience so much brokenness, to experience being poor and being needy, and that he would allow me to go through, gosh, it's been a good 6 to 8 years. And there's been a lot of battles on almost every front. There was divorce and toxic relationships and a lot of infidelity going on that just caused it broke my heart. And through it all, God was my he was my help. He was my rescuer. He was my redeemer. He was my reward. And I kept pressing in, and, through it all, I was saying, Lord, please just close doors that need to be closed, open doors that need to be closed, be the light into my path, a lamp into my feet. Just lead me, Father. And, but I had to experience those things in order to know his heart for these types of people, and for people that have been through these types of things. And then there came a day where God delivered me from the toxic relationships and delivered me from these battles. And he brought me to Farmville, and he gave me a home as a single mom, which was a feat in itself. And Um, yes, go tell Katie. She'll get you some Gatorade.
Mommy, who's it tell Mama?
All right, if you go open the drawer in the refrigerator, then you can bring me the Gatorade. And I'll open it for you. But he delivered me from all that. And he took me out of, it was like the storm. And he brought me here, and he gave me the daycare, which is my heart desires to be at home with my children, but I needed income, you know, not having a husband. And it's just really been a blessing to minister to the families that come through the door and to minister to the children and be able to be home with my children. It's a long day, but definitely a blessed day. And it's just, it's been awesome. When I first, when I first came out of that battle, all of a sudden all this shame fell on me. And I remember thinking, Lord, you know, I was that 20-year-old girl that just wanted that godly husband that did, you know, I wouldn't have asked for any of this. This is not what I wanted. And all the sin in my life that surrounded me through all this time, all that, it just was like I could see it all. And I was saying, Lord, you know, why did you allow all that? That's not what I wanted. And I asked you to show me, to speak wisdom into me. I didn't want all of this, you know. Look at where I am. And I just felt the shame come over me. And I remember, I usually don't pay much attention to like junk mail. But this flyer came in the mail from this church. And prior to that, I had a vision of a teapot. It was a teapot, a heart, and a piece of chocolate. I still don't know about the heart and a piece of chocolate. Anyway, the teapot really stood out. And it had this teapot on it, and I read it. It was a parable of the teapot. And it was exactly what I needed to hear at the time. I'm going to paraphrase it. It was about this little teapot that was just this clay on the shelf, and how it had to go through the process of being made into this beautiful little teapot. How it had to be taken out of its comfort zone, and how it had to be pressed and molded and put in the fire not once, not twice, but 3 times, and how it had to be painted and manipulated so that it would take, and so that it could be strong, and so it could withstand and be used. And so it was just a very beautiful picture. And it just meant so much to me at that time, because God, you know, it's like he reached down and said, you know what, I knew your heart. And you know what, your heart wouldn't have been satisfied unless I was glorified. Your heart wouldn't have been satisfied had I not allowed you to go through all these very disappointments, these very unmet expectations. These things are the things that drew you to me, that made you know me. And so I was just like, wow. And it was just like, you know, it's not about what other people think. It's not about what other people thought. You know, I knew your heart. And I'm drawing you to me, and I'm making you, and I'm wanting, you know what, I'm going to use you. I'm going to use these circumstances for the glory of my kingdom. And you know, I said, you know what, Lord? If you ask me to, I will. Because, you know, you're right. You know, dying to myself, to my expectations, but my reward is you. You know, there's a death here, but Christ is my gain. And so, it's definitely been a journey to surrender for me. It didn't happen overnight. And I'm still having to let go of expectations. But God is showing me that He is all I need. He is all that we need. And I think He's using what we're all going through right now to just minister to us, to help us clean our hearts, He's putting us through the fire so we can let go of everything that's not necessary, and He's refining us in a beautiful way. You know, it takes us to, we have to go to ashes before we can be made beautiful. We have to have that night before we have that joy in the morning. Would we not be satisfied? Would we be satisfied without these things that draw us near to Him? You know, a good friend, Edgar Kreitzer, he wrote this song, and I only remember one part of it, but it's stuck with me. And it's, if it's the rain that brings me back to you again, then thank you for the rain. Thank you for the rain, Lord. Because my cup will not be full without these disappointments and these, you know, these struggles and these teachable moments. So, Lord, we thank you for what you're doing, for who you are, that you're faithful, and that we can trust you, Father. That if you care for the sparrow, if you provide for the sparrow, then surely, surely you will provide for us. And so I hope that this has encouraged you today. I'm really excited about what God is doing. We miss our friends. I miss my daycare children so much. I miss my church. And I miss going out to eat. I'm tired of my cooking. But I pray that God is with you, and that you're letting Him comfort you and letting Him give you peace through this storm. And the storm will not last forever. He does not leave us here. It was nice to talk with you all, and I hope you have a blessed day.